So the University of Richmond is a private liberal arts and sciences college in Richmond, Virginia. We are very centrally located within Virginia in the capital city of Richmond. And while we are in the capital city, you can see from these pictures and my background that we are not an urban campus. So we are located about 6 miles or about a 15-minute shuttle ride outside of downtown Richmond. But being so close to the city, our students absolutely have this really vibrant culture available to them that they certainly explore throughout their 4 years. We are a river city, so we have the James River, which runs right through downtown, allowing our students opportunities for things like kayaking and whitewater rafting or some beautiful trail hikes. Richmond is a huge foodie city. We have about 900 plus restaurants in the city of Richmond alone. And then there's also quite a bit of industry. So 7 Fortune 500 companies are located in Richmond. We are about 2 hours south of Washington, D.C. So that's kind of a nice point that you may be more familiar with. And it's really a straight shot down 95, which is a major highway here on the East Coast to get to Richmond. So certainly very accessible for our students and allows us to draw students from really across the country as well as across the globe as well. For our undergraduate student population, we are a little bit large for a liberal arts and sciences college. So we have 3,000 undergraduates on our campus. We like to say that this is a really nice middle ground for our students. It's not so small that our students are not able to really explore and try new things within each of their given years. But it's also a place where our students are going to have a small classroom environment. And it looks like my PowerPoint is down. Is that correct? Can anyone still see my PowerPoint at this point? You can still see it? Okay. If I lose it for a moment, you'll have to forgive me. But we are, again, working on an average class size of about 16 students. So with 16 students in the classroom, that means you're really going to have a voice in the classroom, which is really important. We want you to be taking a stand in the learning every single day, helping to navigate what is discussed. And we really are trying to build a sense of community, which I hope that Ryan will be able to kind of elaborate on even more when he joins us later on in the program. In addition to that, we have an 8-to-1 student to faculty ratio, which means again that faculty are really accessible to our students. We want to make sure that our faculty are serving not just the purpose of teacher, but also as mentor as well. So you are not going to be hard pressed to build these really personal relationships with professors to make sure that they are guiding you to what's next post-graduation. I should also mention on this slide that we do meet 100% of demonstrated need for all admitted students. So for any international students or for US citizens, if you hold dual citizenship, if you are applying to the University of Richmond, we are committed to making sure that we are meeting 100% of your need. So really generous financial aid packages with about an average financial aid grant of just over $45,000. Now, what did our class of 2024 look like? These are our students that are now a few months into their studies. We were able to reopen for in-person residential instruction this fall. And really wanting to point out again just how diverse geographically and as far as background that all of our students are. Richmond students, they find themselves on our campus because they want to forge a new path. They want to have a new experience. And so for that reason, we are welcoming students from almost all states here in the United States within our general population, and over 70 different countries are represented among our students as well. Now, as far as our programs, all of our majors are housed within these 3 different schools. Our School of Arts and Sciences is going to look like a very traditional liberal arts and sciences program. Everything from our popular majors like biology, political science, computer science, you name it, it's likely in there as a School of Arts and Sciences. But we do also have a School of Business. So being able to major in business at a liberal arts and sciences college is rare, and it makes it a very popular option for our students largely. Finally, our Leadership Studies School, the first of its kind in the nation, is a very multidisciplinary, really based on building a foundation of those soft skills. What does leadership look like now? What sort of skills do I need to lead in a ethical and strong, powerful way? And what might leadership look like in the future as well? Now, the learning, of course, doesn't end in the classroom. We want students to get out and about and really exploring what it means to practically have a degree in that field. And we're really committed to making sure students can have these experiential opportunities. We have this program called the Richmond Guarantee. This is going to guarantee every single student will receive up to $4,000 US at least once to be able to fund a summer research or internship opportunity. So at Richmond, we want you to be able to say yes to every great opportunity that comes your way, to build that resume, to build those connections, and make sure you're prepared for life post-graduation. In addition to internships and research, we also offer study abroad. Study abroad is hugely popular for our students. You can see that just under 70% of our students study abroad. We have programs all across the globe. What's interesting about study abroad at Richmond is that we actually have some programs that specifically target populations that we know are historically underrepresented in study abroad. So for example, student athletes, there are among the smaller population of students that study abroad with all the additional commitments they have as student athletes. And so for this reason, Richmond has designed a program that specifically targets and supports student athletes in their opportunity to go abroad. So making sure that it works with their schedules as athletes if they still want to have that global experience as a part of their 4 years. To tie things up on the academic side, the University of Richmond is a place where you are going to be well supported for whatever comes next. 96% of our graduates are either employed or are furthering their education within 6 months of graduation. You can see we are a top-ranked school for career services, for internships, and so all the things that are going to prepare you are going to be available throughout your 4 years. We were just voted #1 most beautiful college campus this year. Of course, a terrible year to receive this designation since we are not currently open to visitors, but have some really excellent virtual tours online and hope to reopen campus in the next few months, we hope, to be able to see our beautiful campus in person. Now, before I transition over, I do want to talk briefly about our admission process. We have a very holistic admission process. And as the admission representative for all of our students across Canada, it is my job to guide and support you through this application review and journey. We're looking at your transcript, certainly, but also looking more closely at things like your essays and your letters of recommendation to really get a sense of who you are and who will you be on our campus. The application checklist materials are pretty straightforward. We are on both the common application as well as the coalition application and do have one additional essay supplement. So that is the Richmond question. A few different essay prompts to choose from, and you send that along to us, and that will be the only additional item. Beyond that, we do post our profile of our admitted students, so you can find all of this information on our website. We do recalculate GPAs on an unweighted 4.0 scale, so that's to help us kind of compare apples to apples across many different students with all different types of curriculum and grading scales. Ultimately have a very selective admission process with about 30% of our students being accepted to the University of Richmond. Students will also be automatically considered for merit-based scholarships, provided they submit their application by December 1 of their senior year. So I purposefully don't include all of our other dates, but December 1 is an important date to remember if you want to be considered for our Richmond Scholarship Program, which is our full tuition, room, and board scholarship. These scholarships are selective. They are also conducted on a holistic review basis, looking at your academics as well as your extracurriculars and your commitments outside of the classroom. And both domestic U.S. students as well as international students can be considered for both the Richmond Scholarship as well as the Presidential Scholarship. So that was my really fast-paced kind of review of the academics and admission here at Richmond. But without further ado, I'm happy to turn it over to our head coach and our student athlete to talk more about the athletics experience here at Richmond.
Thanks, Amanda. Hi, everybody. My name is Dan Shamati. I am the head lacrosse coach here at the University of Richmond, going on completing my 8th year already. And I am joined by one of my senior All-American attackmen, Ryan Lanchberry. So we're really happy to be with you here today. Just to talk a little bit about the athletic programs here at Richmond. As you could see from Amanda, the school cares a lot about academics. We like to talk during our recruiting process to student athletes that Richmond offers the best of both worlds. We are academically a small liberal arts college with some really great degree programs, but we're also a school that cares immensely about athletics, and we will show that to you in our facilities momentarily here. Richmond offers about 16 varsity sports. We offer baseball, basketball, men's and women's basketball, men's and women's cross country, field hockey, football, men's and women's golf, men's and women's lacrosse, women's soccer, women's swimming and diving, men's and women's tennis, and women's track and field. As a athletic department, we compete in 3 different conferences here in the country. Our men's lacrosse program competes in the SoCon. Our football program competes in the CAA. Most of our sports compete in the Atlantic 10 Conference. And then actually our women's golf competes in the Patriot League. So 4 different conferences. We are all Division I sports. So we compete at the highest level against some of the best athletic programs in the country. Facilities wise, I think our facilities, as you can see, the Princeton Review, the same publication that ranked us the #1 most beautiful campus in the country, also ranked us the 7th best athletic facilities in the country for liberal arts schools. And we have a number of great facilities. We're going to show some of those to you in video and virtual tours here in a minute. Here's a great look at the Robins Center. Basketball is the #1 sport here on campus, and I think you can see from this picture why. The basketball team has played at the highest level for the longest period of time, has an incredible facility, and this is just such a great picture for me to talk more about the best of both worlds. Again, the school cares a lot about academics, and it's a small school academically, but it definitely does resemble a small school athletically. When you look at the student spirit, when you look at the support from the community, when you look at the facilities, when you look at how Richmond athletics is able to compete on a national level, you see that it's just we resemble a much larger school. So really unique combination, and a combination that not a lot of schools across the country can brag about to the same extent. Amanda, do we have the ability to play this video? So this video right here, this shows off the lacrosse specific facilities here. This is the Robins Stadium. This is where the football and men's lacrosse teams play. And then we get into some of our other facilities. I'll let the video play rather than me talk. So as you can see, all of those facilities, whether it was the basketball stadium, our lacrosse facilities, are all facilities that a lot of the larger schools across the country tend to offer. So we really like that combination. We think it provides, again, the best of both worlds for our student athletes. Currently in our athletic department, we have 5 Canadian students. We have 2 men's lacrosse athletes on our team. We have 2 men's basketball athletes, and then we have a golfer on the women's side who are Canadian athletes. In terms of academic support is very important for all of our athletes, and we have a whole team of academic advisors in the athletic department that work amongst all the different teams. So a gentleman who heads up that whole department, he's the associate athletic director for academics. He works specific with our team. His name is Bruce Matthews. So I might reference him, as I'm describing some of these support programs. So Bruce is a gentleman. He's been here for about 17 years. He has a tremendous relationship with the professors here on campus, and the small classroom setting is a tremendous advantage from our standpoint, from an academic support standpoint. The ability for our young men and women to develop relationships with the professors is second to none. With an average class size of 16 students, there's going to be a lot of accountability and attention and participation in the classes here at Richmond, and the ability to get to know your professors. We think in a very real time setting that our young men are able to be looked after. We don't have to wait until a midterm report comes out to find out if there are any struggles academically that any of our guys are having because of those small classes and the relationships that the professors have with the academic advisors here in the athletic department. Some of the specific programs that we offer priority registration, and what that means is our athletes are going to register for classes prior to the general student population in their respective classes. We also offer professional tutors that are readily available for the student athletes in a wide range of topics. We have writing consultants. So if your classes or your major involves more papers, rather than tests, then we have individuals that our athletes can sit down with to help them organize their thoughts into a well thought out paper. We require about 6 hours of study hall a week from our guys, which, and that's for all freshmen and anyone with underneath a certain grade point average. And, we usually joke, if you're only studying 6 hours a week at Richmond, you're probably going to find yourself in study hall for all 4 years because of the strength of the academics here. But it's just a way to get our guys started off on the right foot and help teach them the importance of time management. And we do offer accommodations for any students out there with some learning disabilities. We have a variety of different accommodations, whether it's different spaces to take tests or untimed tests. We offer some very specific accommodations because we have a 4-semester equivalent foreign language requirement. But again, the major advantage of being in the small classrooms is it gives any students with learning disabilities the ability to advocate for themselves. In the picture here on this slide, you can see the most recent facility here in athletics that, and as you can see with some workers up on ladders, is still being completed. It should be opening in the next week or so. And this is an academic support center for the student athletes, which I haven't even been in this building yet, but we are really excited for its grand opening, which is going to be very soon here. So this will serve as the center for the student athletes to come and meet with tutors or work in groups or meet with writing consultants, and all of the academic advisors are going to be in this facility. It's located right next to the majority of the athletic facilities here, so very centrally located and convenient for them as well. I am going to turn it over to, before we talk about the recruiting process and contacting coaches and athletic scholarships, I'm going to turn it over to Ryan Lanchbury to talk about his experience at the University of Richmond.
Hey guys, so yeah, I'm Ryan Lanchbury. I'm from Burlington, Ontario, Canada, so just outside Toronto, for anybody who doesn't know. So I'm a senior here, as Coach mentioned. I'm a finance major, and yeah, I play on the lacrosse team. So my journey to get here was a little different being a student athlete. I went to Avon Old Farms, which is a boarding school in Connecticut, and I was recruited to come play lacrosse here. I committed actually 6 years ago yesterday, so just a couple months into my sophomore year. So I did have a pretty good sense that I was going to come to Richmond, which made my application process just a little bit easier than most students, but the process in general was fairly easy because Richmond has great resources in terms of the application process. They answer questions really easily. So I found it very easy to apply, get my SAT scores in, all my high school transcripts, my recommendation, and finish their application process with the essay, which was for me the toughest part of the application process. They asked a pretty arbitrary question, which was, it was just tell me about spiders. So you could kind of take that in any direction you wanted. You had to get creative. I ended up writing 3 different essays and giving them to my college advisor and having him kind of look them over and get a sense of which one was the best, which one I should submit. So once I got to Richmond, I had a pretty good idea that I wanted to join the Robins School of Business. I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do within business in terms of my major, but the advantage of the liberal arts program is that you kind of have to take a plethora of classes within the school and get a sense of what's the best fit for you. So I had to take, marketing, economics, accounting, statistics, finance prerequisites, and attain a certain GPA. And then once I finished all those with a certain GPA, I was able to pick my major. And so I'm a finance major. It's been a little bit difficult, but it's very rewarding and it's something I really enjoyed doing. So on top of being a student athlete, being a finance major at the Robins School of Business is no easy feat. Yeah, it requires a lot of work and dedication, but that's something that Richmond does a really good job of, which Coach has mentioned. There's a lot of resources from the academic and athletic standpoint, which helps make my days a little easier. So over the course of my 4 years, I have struggled in classes before where I needed tutors, and they're readily available. I just email the academic advisor for our team, and within about 24 hours, I will have a tutor with a full tutoring schedule. So that is very nice. As Coach mentioned, there are study hall hours, and the best part about those is within those 6 hours a week, for all 6 hours, there are writing consultants and tutors in the actual building where you have to do the study hall. So I remember my freshman year, we had it every day around 7 o'clock, and I would go in, and right away I would just go to one of the tutors for accounting or economics and get help right there one-on-one, which makes it a little easier as a student athlete because a lot of times you have 4 hours of practice and film and lifts and different stuff throughout the day. So it has been very nice to go somewhere where you can get one-on-one help outside of class. So that has been a huge part of my success at Richmond, is just having the resources available as a student athlete to make sure that I am performing well in the classroom and not just on the field. In terms of a day in the life as a student athlete at Richmond, I normally wake up in the morning and I get over to campus a little early before my 9 a.m. classes to get some food. Then I'll have a few hours of classes. I normally have 2 classes a day, depending on the day. And then it's right to lunch. Then the afternoon is normally blocked off for, depending on the time of year we're in. So in season, we're 20 hours a week. Out of season, we're 8. So depending on that, I normally have a few hours in the afternoon that are dedicated towards film sessions, lifts, runs, agility, strength sessions, and then practice. So it's pretty busy and tiresome, but afterwards you grab a quick bite to eat for dinner, and then it's pretty much back to my my house. I'm off campus, where I spend a ton of time doing some work, especially this year as a senior. Being in those upper level finance classes, I spent a lot of time studying this year and using the tutors so that I'm not falling behind, and that I can finish strongly here in my senior year. So that's pretty much a day in the life as a Richmond lacrosse student, especially. I speak from that perspective, but in general, it just requires a lot of dedication in terms of your athletic and academic success.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ryan. I know Coach Jamadi has a few more points he'd like to do an overview of the recruiting process, and then we will be wrapping it up for the University of Richmond.
Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, Amanda. So just to talk about the promoting yourself a little bit, I think it's really important that you focus on a few very specific things. Number one, I would encourage everyone to be very thorough. You can imagine maybe you can or you can't imagine the number of emails, phone calls that I get on a weekly basis. Young men who want to come and play lacrosse here. I would be embarrassed to tell you how many unread emails I have right now. But it's probably thousands a week of young men are reaching out to express interest in the University of Richmond. And certainly, we go through all of those in as many as we can. And I'm well aware that young men who are reaching out to us are also reaching out to other universities. I would be very thorough when you're addressing that email. Make sure it says the name of the coach who you are emailing and not the name of another school's coach when you are emailing that out. So that's going to be a first impression that you certainly want to make the most of. I can also tell you, when people email me and say they want to come to Richmond University, well, I coach at the University of Richmond. That is also really important as well. So you're just going to want to be thorough and make sure that you've done research and really taken the time to make a great first impression, because with so many young men advocating for themselves, you certainly you don't want to you want to have that great first impression. So that's number one, is to be thorough. Number two, I would just say be very patient, okay, with all of the emails and phone calls that we get about all these amazing young men. It's hard to get back to everybody to the same level. So be really patient and understand that if you send an email, all right, it was received, and maybe that coach just doesn't know who you are, but they're going to take the time to get to know you before just sending you off just a quick reply. So I'd say be patient, in the process as well. And don't be afraid to continue to communicate would be my third point. So when you're playing in different events and you get certain videos, typically those videos are sent off, and I would encourage it. Maybe the coach hasn't gotten back to you after your first email or your second email. Don't be afraid to continue to email, okay, because you understand it just they receive a lot of communication. Include highlight videos, include the position that you play. We get plenty of emails where they tell us a lot about themselves. They don't tell us what position they play. They don't tell us what number they are in the video. And they don't tell us what their high school, what high school team they play for. So, be really, good about including as much information as possible, as well as your academics, because that right there, that's going to be a determining factor for a lot of young men and young women in the process as well. So being able, if you can include a transcript, a midterm report, something like that, an SAT, an ACT score, that's going to be really, really helpful, because that, again, that's probably the number one piece that, we use to cut our list down. So other than that, I think it's important that, you use your other resources around you, your coaches, to help, get your name in front of coaches as well, because that's sometimes all it takes. Because when you're getting thousands of emails a week, but a coach who you might be familiar with calls you up, I'm going to be more receptive to that coach who I know than to 1,000 emails, for young men who I don't know. So I would use those people, really, a lot as well. So in terms of athletic scholarships, so athletic scholarships are, it's a very, for men's lacrosse, it's a very unique process. So the most fully funded lacrosse programs in the country offer 12.6 scholarships. On our team, we keep a roster of about 48 young men. So splitting up 12.6 scholarships to 48 young men is not an easy task. Certainly athletic scholarships are not created equal. And some sports are different. Football and basketball probably operate a little bit differently than, the other sports, but that's, if a scholarship equals a full cost of attendance, and we get, 12 of those and we have 48, that can be, really, really a stressful process on both ends. But we work really hard to do as best we can. Thankfully, Richmond has incredible need-based financial aid, and we really take full advantage of that, as do our student athletes and their families. But that's just what the scholarship picture looks like. Very rarely do we give out, if ever, full scholarships. So if somebody's telling you they're getting a full scholarship to go play, that's usually it might not be the case. Again, basketball and football are going to be a little bit different, but just keep that in mind as well. So in terms of visiting, and Amanda mentioned it earlier, Richmond does have incredible virtual visits on their website. We use them in our recruiting process all the time, and I would certainly recommend using those. As beautiful as this place is, and she mentioned, we were the #1 most beautiful campus in the country. As beautiful as it does look on a computer screen, I can tell you, it's no match for being here in person. It is 1,000 times greater in person than it is on a computer screen, but it's still going to stand out quite a bit on the computer screen to you. So thank you guys for having us, and I hope you enjoyed learning about the University of Richmond.